Hello, and welcome to the Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Steve Van Anderson. Thank y'all for joining me today as we do the final video presentation or video review of James Allen's book, A Man Thinketh. This is the seventh chapter, titled Serenity. And this chapter is a chapter that I have pulled many quotes from. I've gotten a lot of my goals from, has been something that I have really used to set a course for myself and really have loved and enjoyed and have gotten a lot of great ideas from this chapter. Even though I think this might be the shortest chapter in the book, it still is. It's so powerful. This entire book is extremely powerful. So I've been blessed to be able to really get a lot out of it. And I hope everyone that's been following along has too. So we're going to go through, we'll do the review of the last chapter. And there's also going to be there's going to be an opportunity in this chapter to point out the differences between getting a reprint and getting something that's got a little age to it. You can see how it was written initially because it makes a difference sometimes. So let's go through and we're going to get started. So here we go. This is the video review for the seventh chapter of James Allen's book, As a Man Thinketh. And it's titled Serenity. So it starts off, as always, with some big statements. And the first sentence on this one is no exception. Calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. Right? It is the result of long and patient effort and self-control. Its presence is an indication of ripened experience and of a more than ordinary knowledge of the laws and operations of thought. So, serenity, which he's kind of defining here as calmness of mind. I've heard it defined by other authors as peace of soul, and I think it all tails together. Peace, calmness, serenity. It's all in that same bucket of those desirable traits we want to own and exhibit, those feelings, those emotions we want to have contained within ourselves and to be able to bring to the world. And he's saying calmness of mind is the beautiful jewels of wisdom. So wisdom of thought, wisdom of actions, and is the result of a long and patient effort and self-control. And that's what a lot of this was talking about, is like change your ideals, change your visions, change your behaviors, change your thinking, change your circumstances. You know, this is all coming back to how you think about things. So if you stop the outside behaviors, practice some self-control externally, and then you start to understand how you think, suddenly the world starts to change, and you start to get this wisdom, these what some would call spiritual truths that allow you to actually grow in life and understanding, which is pretty incredible, which is pretty impactful, honestly. So I love the first paragraph, in the more than ordinary and of a more than ordinary knowledge of the laws and operations of thought. That's important going into the next paragraph. A man becomes calm in the measure that he understands himself as a thought-evolved being, for such knowledge necessitates the understanding of others and as the result of thought. Okay, this is one of the coolest things about doing this type of work. This is one of the coolest things about striving to live a spiritual way of life and the willingness to do the internal work that is required to live differently. The internal work that is required to walk through this world with serenity. Right? So a man becomes calm in the measure that he understands himself as a thought-evolved being. So everything this book has led up to so far. So the depth and understanding you have as to how your thoughts impact your reality, your world, your reality, the more you understand that, the more calm you become, the more serenity you possess. For such knowledge necessitates the understanding of others as a result of thought. So, what this means, excuse me, I'm still nursing that hurt shoulder, which turns out it was actually a hurt neck. This means the more you start to understand yourself as a thought-evolved being, you understand the impact your thoughts have to play on actions. You start to understand other people more, because everything you learn about yourself, you can apply to other people. You can apply that depth and understanding to other people. And when you can do that, you stop. One of the biggest blessings this has given me is I don't take much personally anymore. I try not to take anything personally. I know things affect me personally, but it's never about me. Someone's behavior is a direct reflection of how they think about the situation, which is formed by their willingness to look at things, their past experiences, and their beliefs. So it's because two people can go through the exact same circumstance and situation and experience and have completely different reactions to it and completely different or responses to it, depending on the terminology you want to use, right? Because a reaction is usually categorized as an emotional, immediate reaction that people are unaware of, and a response is usually a purposeful action taken instead of just a purposeful action taken with thought given instead of just a animal response. Maybe it's a better way to say it. So that's where the calmness he's talking about right now comes in. So it's the depth of your understanding that you are a thought-evolved being means you understand that same perspective and concept to others that are in your life. And therefore, you don't take things personally. They are exactly who they are. There's nothing else they could be right there. They're doing what they need to be doing in that immediate moment, and it's not about me. There's a lot of freedom in that. And as he develops a right understanding, not a presumptuous, self-centered perspective or a easily offended ego, and sees more and more clearly the internal relations of things by the action of cause and effect, he ceases to fuss and fume and worry and grieve and remains poised, steadfast, and serene. Let me read that again. And sees more and more clearly the internal relations of things by the action of cause and effect, and he ceases to fuss and fume and worry and grieve and remains poised, steadfast, and serene. So we're going back to the understanding, the principle that when something's happening, there's something that caused it. There's an instigation. There's something that provoked it. Whether we did the provoking or not, who knows, right? But there's something going on there. So, when someone behaves in a certain way, there's something that set that into motion. And when that was set into motion, this is the effect, right? So, when you understand that, you can stop fussing and fuming and worrying and grieving, right? Like, why did this happen to me? But poor me, victim mentality, getting angry, whatever it might be. And you get to be able to remain poised, which means balanced, steadfast, strong, and serene. That peace, calmness of mind, right? You don't get pulled off center. You don't, as some might say, act out of pocket. There's a lot of terms that go along with that. Ridiculous, crazy, whatever, right? You're not going off the deep end on that and whatever it might be. So you're able to maintain your own personal integrity in your actions and your behaviors, right? because you understand this cause and effect, right? It's not a surprise, or it's not something you take personally that you have to go after. The calm man, having learned how to govern himself, knows how to adapt himself to others, and they, in turn, reverence his spiritual strength. Right? So other people see this happening, right? And we know how to, once you understand people, you know how to conduct yourself around them. You know how to not take things personally. You know how to maintain your own sense of poise and balance in all situations, because that's your responsibility to take. My poise and my balance in all situations is my responsibility to maintain. And that comes directly from my understanding of how other people work and how I work. At the end of the day, that's how I figured it. That's how I get perspective on it. I won't say figured it out. There's still stuff working on, but that's the basis for it. People reverence their spiritual strength. People reverence, I guess, maybe my spiritual strength, or others who have done this work, who can remain poised and steadfast and serene in the face of adversity, right? It's not an easy thing to always do. It's not something our ego wants us to do all the time, if I'm fair, because I still have an ego at times. I still have this belief that I need to act in a certain way to get a certain amount of respect or whatever, regard from somebody, or praise, or approval. That's the other word I was looking for. But I know now that that's not true. And if I can take that split-second breath, I can do the right thing instead of doing the self-serving thing. So, reverence his spiritual strength, and they feel that they can learn from him and rely upon him. So when you begin to take full accountability for your actions, your behaviors, your thoughts, you begin to get consistent. You begin to be trustworthy. You begin to be reliable. And that makes you much more appealing to work with, much more appealing to be around, much more appealing, and a sense of safety for others. You can't make them feel safe, but you behave in a way that they can allow themselves to enter in a safe space, enter into a trusting space, a friendship space, not a place of defense, but a place of openness. The more tranquil a man becomes, the greater is his success, his influence, his power for good. Because that comes from your consistency. People begin to believe that's who you are. It's not a temporary show. It's not just a manipulation tactic. People can sense you're trying to do the right thing for the right reasons. There's many people out there that you can almost just feel it in the way they carry themselves, that they're trying to just be the best and most moral, virtuous person they can, and have outstanding moral character, doing the right thing for the right reasons, because it's the right thing to do. Right? So you can almost sense that. You can feel a sense of calmness around them. You can feel, you don't feel a sense of they're demanding something from you, right? It's not okay, now I have to do this for them, right? Or they need this in return. It's a person that genuinely has no dependency on your behavior at all. And they are fully choosing to follow that moral integrity. It's pretty amazing, actually. And that broadens your ability to be successful, have more influence, and do more good. As soon as it becomes to do good for the sake of doing good rather than do good for the sake of my own reputation or ego, people know that. People can sense that. Even the ordinary trader will find his business prosperity increase as he develops greater self-control and equanimity, which is balance. For people will always prefer to deal with a man whose demeanor is strongly equitable. right? The consistency in business, like it's interesting that he just kind of throws the business aspect in here. I'm not sure. Well, because that's a primary factor in people's lives, right? Like how you actually conduct yourself at your job, in your business, for your company, whether you own it or you work for one. People feel like they can't, they need to act in a certain way. They need to have a certain demeanor about them. They need to have selfishness and out for themselves type of attitude. And when the only fair deal is when both profit. But the last thing people want to deal with is unreliable, impulsive, inconsistent people that are just only out for themselves in any and all regard, right? That's the only, that's not what I wanted to say. When you practice serenity, when you practice living differently and you practice the spiritual principles, you get these qualities that people would much rather come, because they know how you're going to behave. They know what you're going to do. They know how you're going to honor your business agreements. You're going to practice honesty in your business practices, right? Like these are great qualities to enter into business with because it doesn't have any surprises. It's someone just genuinely trying to bring to the world whatever they're doing, product, a service, and to be fair about it and to maintain their own moral integrity. So always prefer to deal with a man whose demeanor is strongly equitable, balanced. The strong, calm man is always loved and revered. That's a pretty good thing, isn't it? Respected is what revered means, and admired even. And that's what so many people want. That a strong, calm man is always loved and revered. Always loved and revered. It will. My personal experience with this is that it is very true. That if you remain consistent, if you stand on principle rather than personal desire, and you become and you strive towards this Christ-like character, God-like character. Let me make sure that you heard the God-like character, not a God, but to have these moral principles that you're standing upon, and you have this serene demeanor, and you have this serenity that comes along with this lack of anxiety and fear and depression, because you're just in a moment with the ability to know how you're going to behave in any circumstance that might arise. People admire that strength. People admire that consistency. And some people will hate you at first for one reason or another, and we can get into that guessing game, or whether it's because they wish they had what you had, or they think they can't trust you because they have things in their past that make it so they don't feel like they could, whatever. And there's other reasons as well. But when you act that way, eventually, most everybody comes around to understanding that you are a strong individual, and there's appreciation and acceptance of that. And acceptance is a very loving action, right? And that almost comes around to anybody that practices this. Love and reverie. And to be loved and revered. So, he is like a shade-giving tree in a thirsty land, or a sheltering rock in a storm. Who does not love a tranquil heart, a sweet-tempered, balanced life? It does not matter whether it rains or shines, or what changes come to those possessing these blessings, for they are always sweet, serene, and calm. This is a person that's taken full accountability, like I said, for their actions, their behaviors, their thoughts. And they have chosen how they want to conduct themselves, what character qualities they want to embody, what morals and virtues they want to manifest. And they will be that way regardless of other people's anger, other people's love, the current social climate, the current environmental climate, actual climate, economic climate. They will choose to behave the way they behave, regardless of external circumstances, which is true freedom. That is what that is. That is 100% true freedom from external circumstances all the time. That's incredible. That is true freedom. I didn't understand that for a very long time. And sometimes I wonder if I truly grasp that concept fully, but because it's one thing to know it intellectually, but it's one thing to truly hold that in your heart. And some days I think it's there. Some days I think I still got some work to do, but what's life without some work to do, right? So, but they are always sweet, kind, serene, just that peace of soul, steadfast and calm. A calm body, a calm mind, a calm way they speak. That exquisite poise, balance. Poise, he uses poise very often in this chapter. Poise means balance of character, balanced character, which we call serenity. That exquisite poise of character, which we call serenity. So a balanced character, which we call serenity. What a beautiful thing to strive for. That calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. So, I'm just referring back. So, serenity possesses calmness of mind, but it's also a decision of behavior as well. So, it's not just that first statement of calmness of mind, but it was a poise of character, balanced character. That comes from a calmness of mind in doing the work, right? That's born from it. That love in your soul that feeds that peace of mind, which feeds a calmness of actual body and action. And that is a poised character. That is a balanced person of character. And that is called serenity. That's amazing. I love that. That exquisite poise of character, which we call serenity, is the last lesson of culture, the fruitage of the soul. So that's like the ultimate thing we strive for is serenity. Peace of soul, peace of mind, peace of body. It is precious as wisdom, more to be desired than gold, yeah, even fine gold. There's no material thing that can actually give you serenity. There's no material thing that can actually bring more value to your life than serenity. Because a tumultuous mind, a violent mind will never be able to fully enjoy a world, regardless of material possessions. How insignificant mere money seeking looks in comparison to a serene life, a life that dwells in the ocean of truth beneath the waves, beyond the reach of tempests, in the eternal calm. I believe that the pursuit of money and financial gain and financial security is actually the pursuit of peace, which people think will actually give them that peace of mind. That they think it's that peace that they're searching for. And I can tell you from my experience, that doesn't fix it. Though I haven't been man of millions of dollars by any means. I've had money coming in, though. I've had material possessions. I've had many nice things. But I can tell you, they never made me feel good. They never gave me a lasting satisfaction with life or a peace and contentment with life. It was always a pursuit of more. And that pursuit of serenity is what I realize now from external things. I needed things that I thought that my serenity was found external to myself. And after struggling for years to finally find that out, to find out that it wasn't outside of me anywhere, and no amount of anything would be able to fill that hole I felt because of that lack of peace and serenity. It was quite eye-opening. And that's where this paragraph comes from. That money seeking will never, ever give a person what they're looking for. Maybe a temporary relief, but not true freedom, excuse me. And once you actually find or get a taste of serenity, it's a whole different life. It's a whole different understanding. Now, how many people we know who sour their lives, who ruin all that is sweet and beautiful by explosive tempers, who destroy their poise of character and make bad blood? How many people have these tempers, right? I was just having a conversation earlier with somebody who was asking about it, and a temper can destroy a life in a moment. A temper can change the course of your life because you can't control yourself, because you can't actually you haven't actually done the work to find true peace in your life. Now that's incredible. How one act can do that, right? How many people we know who sour their lives, who ruin all that is sweet and beautiful by explosive tempers, who destroy their poise of character and make bad blood. Business relationships have been soured, friendships, family relationships, romantic relationships, because they can't control themselves. Because they're still of the mindset that the world has to look the way I want it to for me to contain myself. The world has to contain me. And that's a dangerous place to be, actually. That's a very, very dangerous place to be. To demand from the world to give you peace. It will never, ever do that. You will have to find that within yourself. It is a question whether the great majority of people do not ruin their lives and mar their happiness by a lack of self-control. How few people we meet in life who are well-balanced, who have exquisite poise, which is a characteristic of the finished character. I can tell you in my lifetime, I've met a markedly low percentage of people that I would say have these qualities, that are well balanced, to have exquisite poise, which is a characteristic of finished character. Not very many. Not very many. There's some who like to try to act like that, but it takes merely sitting down and having an honest conversation with them to realize that they're not where they pretend to be. And maybe I do that sometimes, but I try to be authentic and honest and to be open to the fact I have room to grow in some areas. But the reality of it is, the people that I see actually walking this spiritual path to its utmost conclusion to the best of their ability, and there will always be a path to walk as long as you're breathing. is few and far between. There's many that like it, and there's many that wish they wanted it bad enough to do the work, but there's not many that are willing to, unfortunately. I like this next one. Yes, humanity surges with uncontrolled passion, is tumultuous with ungoverned grief, is blown about by anxiety and doubt. Only the wise man, only he whose thoughts are controlled and purified, makes the winds and the storms of the soul obey him. Wow. I mean, if that doesn't just summarize our entire being from the States, doesn't that just entirely summarize the climate right now? But even the world climate right now is got so many questions, so many things occurring, so many storms brewing, right? Uncontrolled passions, tumultuous and ungoverned grief, blown about by anxiety and doubt. That is the world in a nutshell right now. It probably has been for a long time, to be honest with you. He's writing about this in 1903. So when does it stop? No, it doesn't. The world will always be the world. The best we can do is to do the work internally and bring to the world our own serenity and peace. And if enough people do that, maybe there can be a change. But until then, the world will always be what it is. You can't demand much else from it. You can bring to it what you wish it had. But that's it. Only the wise man, only he whose thoughts are controlled and purified, makes the winds and the storms of the soul obey him. Those fears, those anxieties, those uncontrollable passions, the grief of loss and the grief of change. You know, we put ourselves through some intense things. Our physical bodies want some intense things, but we're blessed with the opportunity to choose today how we react. We are blessed with the opportunity today to choose what we are going to do going forward. I didn't know that was possible. I thought I was just born with the character I had or the disposition I possessed, and that's how I was going to be. But gratefully, I found a different way of life, and I found a way to change and pursue this serenity that we're talking about. So, all right, now this is the last chapter of the book. I reread it twice when I did the just reading on Serenity, and there's so much in it. So, tempest-tossed souls, wherever ye may be, under whatsoever conditions ye may live. Know this, in the ocean of life, the isles of blessedness are smiling. The sunny shore of your ideal awaits your coming. Keep your hand firmly upon the helm of thought. In the bark of your soul reclines the commanding master. He does but sleep. Wake him. Self-control, strength, right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. Say unto your heart, peace, be still. I love that. So first of all, I want to say in this copy right here, it has the term in the bark of your soul reclines the commanding master. Now it's spelled B-A-R-K, bark, like a dog barks or the bark of a tree. All right. So most of the copies I'd read up until I got this one spelled it that way. And I always thought it odd. I was like, is this the living part of the tree they're talking about? Is this the voice within your soul? Which you could make a case for, we'll say. You can make it work in your mind. Those things, I guess, if you put some perspective on it and some context maybe. But then I read this one. I'm not sure the year of this one, but it is a much older copy. And it has bark spelled B-A-Q-U-E. B-A-R-Q-U-E. Now, when you look that up, that is an adventurous ship with 3 masts. That changes the entirety of that paragraph for me, right? Because why would he go from talking about the helm, keep your hand firmly on the helm of thought, like stay like helm guiding? That's the where the wheel is. That is the position of the captain at the helm, captain of a ship. In the bark of your soul reclines the commanding master. I didn't understand how that would play with the helm, right? Because it's not a complete metaphor. It's not a continuous metaphor, at least. And so to find out that it was actually written that way originally, bark, B-A-R-Q-U-E, which is a ship commonly used for adventures. Like it's the type of ship in most pirate movies, old school pirate movies, like Pirates of the Caribbean or whatnot. And so be the captain of your ship, be in control of it, meaning control your thoughts, control your actions, right? In the bark of your soul. So in the ship of your soul, the ship that is your soul, maybe, the commanding master reclines the commanding master. So in your soul reclines the commanding master, right? Wake him. Take control of that. Give it intention. Give it purpose. Give it an ideal, a vision to strive for, right? These are the things that we need to take into our possession so we can actually guide and direct our lives in the direction we want it to go. Do we want it to be of service to people? Do we want to be a teacher, educate people? Do we want to be successful and build a better world in business and society? Like, pick a direction, right? Don't just let it aimlessly wander. Because all you'll end up is miserable, purposeless, and selfish and self-centered, just trying to do things to feel good. So this chapter is incredibly important, and that word change that's come from the reprintings of this book over the years is incredible, has a significant impact, which is so unfortunate. And I wish it would get reverted back. In the bark of your soul, so in the voyaging ship of your soul reclines the commanding master, reclines the ability to take charge. He does but sleep. Wake him. It is within you. It is within me. It was within me. I'm finding that now. And I'm being blessed with the opportunity to embrace that. He does but sleep. Wake him. Now, this has been a mantra for me for years, ever since I read it in my first year of sobriety and recovery. And it's gotten me through a lot. It's given me perspective that I never knew was available to me. It's driven. This quote's probably the reason I value this book so highly. And it's opened so many doors for me. And it's this: self-control is strength. So your physical actions. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. Say unto your heart, peace, be still. Right? Self-control is strength, physical. Right thought is mastery, mind. Calmness is power, character, heart. When you can fully embody, I'm going to say embody, I like that word better for this, is when you can fully embody self-control, when you can fully embody right thought, when you can fully embody calmness. There's such strength there. There's such power and clarity, right? Well, I guess that's what it says. Strength, power, right? Mastery, clarity. It's absolutely incredible. And just the times I've been able to be blessed with this in my life is so freeing. When you can remain calm in testing situations, whether they're immediate and short-lived or long-term situations. When you're able to actually control yourself and your actions, when you're able to actually have right thought, which I did a whole deep dive into what right thought would be, and which was quite interesting. And then finally, say unto your heart, peace be still. And that's what it ends with, which is a quote from the Bible again. I forget which chapter Emmett Fox writes on it, though, but it's a treatment for fear is what he writes on it in Emmett Fox. And it talks about be still and actually, and know that I am God is the rest of it. Peace be still and know that I am God. And it's incredible way to end that book, and just to say, like, these are the things you're striving for. These are the things you want to embody. Go do it. Do not fear. Do not hold fear in your heart. Follow the God of your understanding, that power greater than yourself, whatever it might be. Take the lessons in this book and move forward. Take them and grow. I don't even care if you take them, grow, and realize you don't like them and you want to replace them with something, but move forward, do something different with your life. That is what this book has given me. I believe everything in this book wholeheartedly. I don't think there's a single thing I disagree with in it, and I might be biased, and that's okay. So, but I love this book. It's done more for me. Well, it's given me information to change my life and take appropriate actions to change my life and to seek out further knowledge and understanding, which has allowed me to completely change my character. So, love it. Absolutely love it. Again, if you guys want me to do a full reading of the book, to post it online just so you guys can hear it front to back, I'm definitely willing to do that. Let me know if you'd like me to. And thank you so much for your support. Please like, please subscribe, please check out my other videos. And I do believe that we are going to be doing Emmett Fox's Sermon on the Mount right here. I've got a couple copies, these orange ones. These are all different versions of Emmett Fox. And then this one's my best copy right now. So, Emmett Fox's Sermon on the Mount, but I'm only going to be doing a section of it. It's called the Beatitudes, and which is about spiritual living and how to act and behave, and what those mean from Emmett Fox's interpretation, which is another author that's helped me grow. That the Sermon on the Mount has given me a expansive basis to start my spiritual path too. So, As a Man Thinketh in the beginning convinced me I needed to change the way I thought, and that let me be open to letting spiritual program, we're going to say, change the way I think. I had to let go of my old beliefs and ideas and make room for new ones. And that's given me more freedom than I could ever have thought imaginable. So, thank you all for joining me again today. I appreciate it. This one was a week late due to some conflicts of time and prior commitments and obligations. But I appreciate y'all jumping on, taking a listen, and I'll be back next week with I'm not sure if it's going to be a full reading next week, or if I'm just going to be doing a video from here on forward. So Either way, I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. And until next time, thanks.